Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Tom, and we're three of the lead lay chaplains for the Diocese of Nottingham. And in this resource, Encounter Him, we're going to be thinking about how we can encounter Christ in our daily lives. And we're going to hear now from some of the lay chaplains in our diocese about what encounter actually means.
Encounter with Jesus is where we have that ability to be able to come into his presence, to realise his presence. We know that Jesus is always with us, but actually encountering him is where we recognise his presence at work in what we do or what is happening around us. And I think that's really, really important. We know that he's always with us, but having those moments of encounter where you meet somebody, that's what encounter means, to meet somebody. Actually, when you meet Jesus through something that somebody says, or when in a liturgy, when reading really strikes you, I think that's what encounter means.
Encounter means to me leaving space in my life every day to let Jesus enter into it, and also being open to seeing Jesus in other people every day, no matter what their background is.
Encounter to me means discovering God in a personal way and experiencing self-assurance that you're exactly who you were supposed to be, made in God's image.
Hi guys, my name is Elise, I'm from the Briars team and I'm here to chat to you guys today about the theme of encounter. Now when we talk about the word encounter, we're talking about the times in which we see Christ in our daily lives. This may be through people, it may be through things like nature, things like that. Just those moments where we can kind of see and feel Christ's presence in the room. Those moments where you kind of feel a little bit overwhelmed, maybe with joy or with love. But it's those moments where we can feel Christ in the world and we know that he's still with us.
I was a student and I was having a really hard time and I needed some peace and quiet. So I walked into St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh and I was sitting and I was suddenly overwhelmed by a feeling of joy and peace. And I can only explain that as Jesus being there with me. It was, as C.S. Lewis says, being surprised by joy. And it's never happened to me again, but once was enough.
I went into hospital to see a little boy who'd been born 4 months prematurely. They didn't know whether he would survive or not, and I'd taught his mum at school and I knew his family well, and so I came and he was ever so tiny. He was born on March the 25th, which is the Feast of the Annunciation. He should have been born in July. But they named him Gabriel because of the fact that it was on that March the 25th. And I would then go in 2 or 3 times a week just to literally say a little prayer with the family to support them. And I remember on one of those occasions of prayer, some of the nurses came and stood around as well. And there was his little aunt and uncle were there too. And I really felt the presence, the healing presence of Christ very much there. And slowly but surely he grew. He will always have a little disability because of the fact that he's born so prematurely. But then what was so wonderful was to finish off his baptism a year and a half later and to be able to anoint him. And for his family to make the vows in front of one another. That was a really wonderful occasion to be able to baptise him. And I saw him last week at a wedding. He is doing very, very, very well indeed.
Now, I'm very lucky here at the Briars that I get to work with young people every single day, and you know, they really do it brings me a lot of joy to get the opportunity to meet people like you guys every single day. And I see the joy that you guys share with each other, just those moments where you kind of forget a little bit about what's going on around you. A great example that I've got is when people are singing and dancing together. This could be at a disco maybe, or maybe it's when it's during Mass, when people are like singing the hymns or singing a song, things like that. But just those moments where you kind of get a little bit lost, you almost forget where you are because you're just so in the moment and you kind of sharing that love with each other and just being joyful and like feeling the joy of life. It's in those moments that I see Christ in people and see them loving and living a life just as Christ wants us to do.
We can help others encounter Jesus by being disciples. We can show care and kindness to others, make helping those in need the most priority through charity work. We can also encounter Jesus through prayer and taking time out of our day to just be.
I think the best way to encounter Jesus is to allow some quiet time every day just to be with Jesus, because if you don't let him enter into your heart, you cannot encounter him. And how to help other people, teach them to be quiet in the presence of God so that he can be with them and they can encounter him.
One way that we can encounter Christ a little bit more is to kind of look for the joy in everything. You know, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you think, oh look, it's raining outside, but actually if it's raining outside, it's that classic story you hear when you're younger, but it means that the flowers are getting watered, they're getting fed. And so just looking for joy in those things in life, those little things like a cup of tea in the morning, maybe your friend smiling at you, maybe finding a pound coin on the floor, just trying to find those moments of joy in life where you can kind of feel Christ's love inside you. And maybe you can try and share that love with others to help them encounter Christ as well, just doing kind things with people. Is there someone that you could let them know how thankful you are for them and how much you appreciate them? Send them a little card or a little text just telling them how much you appreciate them. That is one way that you could help others to encounter Christ.